be a surprise guest on Zoom. Coming soon. One of us don't know what's going on. One of us don't know what's going on. There's gonna be a surprise guest on Zoom. Oh, coming soon. Your baby girl is coming soon. Coming soon. One of us don't know what's going on. One of us don't know what's going on. There's gonna be a surprise guest on Zoom. Yeah, coming soon. Your baby girl is coming soon. There's gonna be a surprise guest on Zoom. Yeah, coming soon. Yeah, baby girl.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
So today is a special guest that a surprise guest that arranged for Joe. He hasn't got a clue who it is, and there we go.
I'm not turning.
And
around
I would
yet.
suggest you turn round in case they
it's
come
too
early. Come on,
It's too early. I can't
play the game. Come on,
It's too early. We've started too early to turn
but
around.
they might come early.
That's what she said. Have we
All
said
the
that?
way round. That's what
Have
she
we
said.
said that
All the
enough
way
to go on
round.
a T-shirt yet? Do you reckon? That's what she
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, all the way around. So Joe he's on the surprise guest spinny chair, and he's spun around. Now his back's facing his laptop, so we can't see when the guest arrives. How you feeling?
How am I feeling? Okay, I woke up today I gave us a bit of talking to because I knew I had this, and I was like, it's fine, don't stress out, and I buried it. But I don't enjoy it. The truth is, I don't get why we have to. I know I get why we have to do it, but it just stresses me out, and I think it's sort of undue stress that I don't need.
Turn round, please. No,
Oh,
turn around the other way.
Oh,
No. The face on it. You totally caught him. Oh, God.
oh, that was too early. I was like, no, I'm not ready. Am I ready? It's fine. It's fine. This is all fine, but I don't. There's just a level of stress that I just think, well, why am I doing this at 48? Why am I stressing me out when I don't need to?
Because your audience love it.
I know, but does it gain enough enjoyment to stress
Well,
me
won't
out?
Won't do it then. Fine.
Good.
Turn round.
Oh no! Now
Please turn all the way round.
Are they here then?
No, I just don't like I can see your eyeball.
Oh, you meant? I thought you were letting me
Yeah,
off.
no, all the way round. Just want to see.
Oh, I thought you were saying you don't have to do it. I thought that was kind, but you're actually doing the opposite.
Oh, right.
As I said to you earlier, there's too many factors in it that are out of my control, and I think I might make a wally of myself.
Oh, they're here.
Really? Don't
No,
if they're not.
no, they're not.
Yeah, don't do any of that. It annoys me.
I'm in control.
I want to feel relaxed again. That's what I want. After we
You
do,
really are talking.
am I talking too much?
Waffly, William.
I don't know what to do.
No, I felt like this with the last. I can see your eyeball. I felt like this with the last one. I really did. It was not.
It's not the end of the world, but it's
Yeah.
just like, I'm tense. I've got like a knotted stomach.
What are you worried about?
What am I worried about? Like it's someone that freaks me out or something, and I don't know what to say. Like,
What do you mean? Like
because you
Dracula?
can't. What? Like what?
Dracula.
Yeah, like Dracula.
Yeah.
No, but it's like when we interview someone, you can, if you've got a little bit of prep, you can go, oh, I'll ask them about that. I've got like a safety net.
Yeah.
They'll go, oh, worst comes to worst, I'll bring up that thing they did that I like or whatever.
Yeah.
And imagine it's someone and like I don't really know enough about them or something.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, oh, and I'm thinking, oh, they're definitely an actor, or they're a singer. I can't think of any of their songs, but oh fuck.
How do you think I'm behaving?
You're fine, which makes me think this should be okay then, actually. No, so you said a couple of things which was like, it's a biggie, which then I was like, oh, you said that in a way that made me think, it is.
This is the best bit for me. Trying to work stuff out and see your eyeball. Put that on a t-shirt.
I can see.
The new Christmas selection.
That's a Christmas. It feels a bit like, when you're guessing, it feels like the traitors where you go, it's all nonsense what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So.
That might not be though.
And this turning around makes it worse.
It does, doesn't it? Because your brain's going a million miles an hour when you turn around and you compute that it is. And
it's also there's things like you go, oh, you could have said to them, come on at like 52, because he'll still be turned round, and we'll see how long we can talk with him not knowing you're there, or something like that. So all that kind of going in my head. Now I think they're there, and that's exactly what you've done, and I feel sick.
You would have been awful on blind date.
Really stressy with a girl.
Number 3.
What, are you behind the wall, are you? Oh, yeah.
You're right, darling.
Sod off. Stressed.
Oh, I think the guest is trying to...
Oh, don't. What's this a joke one?
Hello, guest. If you could be quiet, guest, because Joe doesn't know you're coming on.
Is this a joke one?
Have you got your video on, guest? Okay, the guest has arrived, Joe, so turn round when you're ready.
Oh my God, I think I might cry.
I was feeling the same thing seeing you, mate.
Oh, right, I'm actually welling up.
Oh!
I'm not even joking.
Oh, no!
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Mr. Roachford.
Yeah.
Indeed. How you doing, man?
I don't know what to say.
For the benefit of the listeners at home, Joe's...
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. I don't know what to... Genuinely don't know what to say. I am possibly your biggest fan.
Oh, wow, there we go.
How's this happened? How is this... Well, I've been talking about this for years, jokingly, about trying to get you on to chat. Oh, my God.
Here I am.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a pleasure, really.
You're touring at the moment, aren't you?
I'm on the road, yeah, as we speak. I'm on 3 gigs in. It's quite early on because we've got 20-something gigs. So, yeah.
You were at Nottingham the other night, weren't you?
Yeah, we were. We're doing independent music venues tour, so small places, but, independently run.
Oh, my God.
And,
Oh, my God. Are you coming to Brighton?
Are we doing Brighton?
I don't think you are.
I don't think you are, because I looked down the list immediately and you weren't, and I saw you. I thought, because I saw you doing London.
Yeah, we're doing London. We're doing a couple of dates in London, and we're doing, I think, Margate, but we're not doing Brighton for some reason.
Because you've done Comedia before.
Yeah, I've done Comedia. I was in Brighton, I think, late last year, possibly. I'm getting confused now. So.
Yeah, because the last time you were here, I was away. Because Petra told me while I was away, my other half, who you might have dealt with, said, "Oh, Roachford's in." I was like, "I know, I'm away."
Yeah, always great crowds in Brighton as well. The best. Yeah,
it's a really good. Comedia is a really good venue for music, actually, because I obviously mainly see it for comedy, and we saw a couple of gigs in there, and it's brilliant for music. I'm trying to be normal. It's not working. I've just got to be honest. I'm just talking and I'm sweating and...
What do you like to be called? Is it Andrew or...
Yeah, well, I don't really mind. Normally, my surname is Roachford, and, growing up at school, when I got in trouble, they called me Roachford. They didn't call me Andrew. But, I don't mind now because it's obviously my stage name. Yeah. People call me. So, yeah. For the sake of your listeners, you can call me Roachford for sure.
I desperately want to text my friend Adam. It's like so bad, it's killing me.
I spoke to Petra yesterday. I said, "How do you think Joe's going to react?" And there's no doubt Petra is behind the door listening now.
Yeah.
But Petra said, I think he might cry.
I'm not. I'm absolutely not joking. My eyes went. All right, I'm just going to try and be not. I'm just going to admit that I'm freaking out a bit. But I played you. I came down the aisle to you.
Oh wow!
And you were our first dance as well on the same day, our wedding.
Wow.
Like my missus was like, "Fine, we'll do both," and I was like, "Yes." And so that's how big a deal it is. Oh my God!
Wow, that's real. That's real, man.
Yeah,
I'm flattered. I'm flattered. You know, you're such a talent, such a big talent, and yeah. So for me, it's a big deal too. Seeing you,
really.
man.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't
definitely.
say that. I'll literally, I will cry.
Definitely. I love your humor. You're so original in your approach and everything. It's just you're one of a kind. You know, you're definitely one of a kind.
Oh,
I love your way.
This is a lovely
I mean it. So, you know, I'm not just sort of trying to come back with something. No, it's genuine.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
This is,
Do you know, I think this is the highlight of the podcast. We've put out about 300 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
we talked about like what I know why you said, because Dave was going, who would we get on would freak you out? And I said you. And you must have known that, and you didn't give it away. Because we talked about not coping, and I was like, oh, yeah, I definitely wouldn't cope. And then I can't get my breath back. It's so weird. This must be so weird for you. I'm sorry. Now my brain's going, try and not be weird, but
No, this is kind of different, but it could have been worse. I could have been asked to be the strippogram at your wedding. You know,
well, that nearly happened.
Right, I tell you what. I thought I had a thing in my head. I thought, I wonder if Petra's going to try and get you along to our wedding. I wonder, and I was like,
you did, didn't you?
Yeah,
you did,
like,
didn't you?
In my head, I was like, maybe. Okay, not first dance, but maybe he's gigging locally. And Petra said, look, it'd make his day if you and I just like getting like 1:15 in the morning. I'm like, no,
he's not coming.
Probably was away somewhere.
Yeah.
But whenever you're on the radio, isn't it right? You get your friend.
It happened this morning. I want to find my phone. My friend said Radio 2 now. And every time you're on the radio, because he's at work listening to Radio 2, every time Cuddly Toy comes, it goes, Radio 2 now. And even though I listen to it like 6 times a week, I always put the radio on and have a little jig. And the other joke is whoever's the DJs play it, we always say, so it was Scott Mills today.
Yeah.
I always say Scott Mills knows his stuff. And then my mate will always write bloody right or something. So that's been going on for 20 years.
When you wrote that song, did you have any idea that it was going to last, its longevity?
You can't.
Did you feel like it was a special song?
I definitely felt like it was a special song once I got grooving with it with the band, because I'd written it just with a couple of like keyboards and synthesizer and a guitar.
Yeah.
And I started playing it live, because I actually didn't write it to record it. I wrote it for extra song at the gigs. I was like, we've got to have a song that we can jam for like 20 minutes at the end of the set, and as a end song. And I wrote it, and we'd already recorded the album without it, and the album was actually packaged. And I remember rightly, the album actually had gone to the shop, so some people might have a copy of the first album without Cuddly Toy on it.
Right.
We had to recall it, because I'd written this song that record company were coming to the shows, and they were like, what is that song that you playing at the end of the gigs that we haven't actually got on the record? I said, oh, that's a song, Cuddly Toy. And they went, we should record it. And so we recorded it. And then they were like, well, it's great, but you can't call it Cuddly Toy. And I was just like, well, that's what it's called. And then, the rest is history.
Do you know how long it took to write?
It wasn't that long, because it was like, really, I was about to go out on tour, and I just a couple of days put the song together, and we recorded it it's kind of recorded live, because it was a band set up in the studio, so we recorded it in a couple of hours. So it's quite quickly done, and it's actually quite a blur to me, as opposed to some of the other songs that I maybe laboured over for a while. I went, this is it. Cuddly Toy was a sort of a last 11th hour quick thing. So
yeah,
sometimes it works like that.
And how old were you when you wrote it?
I was about 21.
No.
Yeah, in my early 20s.
No.
Yeah.
See, we always get freaked out when we find out amazing things that people have done young. Because me and David didn't do anything till our like mid-30s, basically.
Well, you can question whether we did it then.
Yeah, that might have been egging what we do. Yeah,
that's amazing. So, how big were the venues you were playing at the time when you wrote that?
Well, I just got a record deal, and we were basically playing. In those days, you had time to develop as an artist and whatever. They would just send you in a transit van up and down the motorways.
Yeah.
And playing, student unions in universities and polytechnics. I actually called us the polyfillers because we were always playing in polytechnics. And so that's kind of and no one knew who we were. We were just turning up, and we were just the entertainment for that night. Every week they had a different band, and we just turned up. And so it was like we had to win over the crowds each gig. And then one of the gigs, I remember we were traveling up north and I had Radio 1 on. And my first single, which was Family Man, went on the radio. And I just knew that, because in those days, it was like one centralized chart.
Yeah.
I just knew from that point that things were going to be a bit different.
And so how did you get the record deal? Was that just someone seeing you play live?
Yeah, actually it was. I mean, I started gigging, the Roachford family are like generations deep in music. And so I grew up in a household where musicians were jamming, playing, rehearsing. And my uncle, who was a genius saxophonist, heard me playing once. I had piano lessons, and he was like, took me under his wing. So I started working with him at 14. I was still at school in the day, falling asleep at school and working nightclubs in the West End at night. And, social services could have done, but, Yeah. And that someone who was working at Island Records, we played at a bar in North London, which was his local. And then he came up to me afterwards and said, "You sound really good." And we were doing covers. So, "Do you write?" And I just started writing songs. I was like, "Yeah, I've got a cassette." And I happened to have a cassette on me just in case. And I gave it to him. And I didn't even hear anything for a while because the tape went circulating around the industry. And then there was this buzz. And it took a while. But then...
who was that person that took the tape?
His name was Guy Holmes, who became quite well known in the industry for... he had a label called, I can't remember the name of his label, because he left Island Records and he started his own label. But one of the people on his label, for example, was Tom Jones, and he was responsible for the comeback career with the Reloaded album. That was a Guy Holmes project, and loads of people. But actually he introduced me to Stevie Wonder. Guy Holmes, I'll always be, that was one of my sort of like, oh my God moments. Like me.
Yeah, how were you when you met him then?
You weren't as bad as me, I hope. Because I'm still not coping, so I hope you got to the point where you did.
Joe hasn't listened to a word you said. He's just staring at you.
And blah, blah, blah.
I'm going to listen to this pod back like I'm a listener for the first time.
Oh no, the Stevie Wonder meeting was even. Wow. It was kind of like this because I didn't expect to meet Stevie. It was a launch party for a film called Jungle Fever, and Stevie Wonder had written the soundtrack, but I didn't know he was actually at the party, And then I get a tap on my shoulder, and it was this guy, Guy Holmes, and he had Stevie with him, and said something like, want to meet, and I stood there with my mouth open, and I outstretched my hand, of course, forgetting Stevie Wonder's blind,
Yeah.
I'm standing there with my hand outstretched, but not actually touching Stevie. And then I kind of went, "Oh no, you've actually got to grab his hand."
Well, I just did that over Zoom, so similar thing.
Wow.
So did you get to chat to him and stuff?
Yeah, I spoke to him. I've met him on a couple of occasions, and on that occasion we didn't really get to talk. There was loads of people standing around us, and I was kind of a bit like you are now. And but then I made a worse one where I met him once, and he was talking about how he records music on a computer, and he said he uses this program called Pro Tools or something. No, he used something else, and I used something else. I said I use something called Logic. And he said, "Do you think that's better? Because I'm thinking of changing." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Oh my God, the visuals are so much better on Logic." And I didn't even realize because he was just nodding. It was only on my way home. I had I had a moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did the I've got to ask about the lockdown cover with Gary Barlow. How did that come about? Because I did a little squeal when that came on as well.
Yeah, I remember hearing over the years that Gary Barlow was a fan of mine, and I think I bumped into him once where I opened for him on something, and he came up to me as I'd played, and he said, "Why am I going on after you? I can't do this."
Really?
Lovely guy, and I think he recorded Cuddly Toy once, and I saw him perform it once, so I knew he was a fan. And then it just came like, "Would you be interested in doing this thing?" And of course, I said yes. And at the time, it was a lockdown, so the only way that you could even get out there was to go onto stuff like this, onto Zoom, and I was getting used to the whole sort of virtual world, because I'm a guy that goes gigs. I'm a gigging muso, that's what I do. Yeah. And it was really weird to me to be sitting in a room performing, and at the end of the performance, because of Zoom, you can't really hear anything. It goes,
yeah.
And wow, that's a lead balloon, and I had to get used to that. But the Gary Barlow thing was good fun, and the idea of it being a duet and him playing was great.
After that, I had a massive conversation with my friend Adam about. God, why am I saying this?
Yeah, careful what you say, Joe.
We were discussing what we would duet with. Oh, so embarrassing. Why? We got we're going. I think I would have gone a little bit left field, and maybe I was like, oh, Jesus, why even start saying that? I don't know. This is way too much for you.
Is it right that you wrote songs for other musicians?
Yeah, I mean, off and on. I wasn't really. I mean, I didn't really have time to do that. I was on stage a lot, so But I got asked a lot by a lot of people, and when I was being really young and maybe not the best management on the planet, I just sort of was going, oh yeah, whatever. And one of the people, believe it or not, was Michael Jackson. And when I say that, people go, what? And even I was gigging somewhere, and this guy comes backstage. I don't even know how he got backstage. With an American accent. He was just, hey, I just want to tell you that my boss, Michael, really likes your songwriting. You remind him of Sly and the Family Stone, he was saying. And I was like, you keep saying Michael, and I've got no idea who you're talking about. And he was like, well, Michael Jackson, and I was just like, security. I didn't believe him. And the next time I saw him, it was at a Michael Jackson concert in Wembley, and he was with the Michael Jackson entourage, and he came up to me and he was like, why didn't you guys call me? What's going on? And I was like, I didn't actually believe you were for real.
Wow.
It turned out that, and then the next time I was performing in America, and the whole Jackson family was in the audience, and that's when I realized.
What?
They were all, it was a Sony do, so obviously we were all signed to the same label, and the curtains went, and about to start the first song, and I was full of confidence, but when the curtains opened, I could see the audience, and it was Jacksons everywhere, and I remember seeing Cyndi Lauper and all these names.
Oh my God.
I at the time grown up with, because they were like the names, and I kind of forgot the first opening words of the song. That was a bit mad. And then I've written with people like Joss Stone, Shaka Khan. Asked me to do something because she heard me at a gig, and she's like, who wrote the song you were singing, Innocent? I did. She was like, can you write me a song? And I'm thinking, this is Shaka Khan.
Did you write her a song?
No, we were supposed to get together in the studio, and I got sick that day, and she had to fly back to America, and it never happened, And I still bump into her every now and again, and I'm sure maybe it can still happen. But, the fact, again, it's just that they say it's so nice to be asked by people that, you just worship, worship.
Yeah.
Shaka Khan is like, I don't know, she was another planet for me,
Yeah.
Well, Joe's waiting for you to ask him, to be fair.
Well, I've got a couple of ideas. Things I've been tinkering with since I was about 14. I actually might start writing on the off chance.
Oh dear.
Is that the stuff that you're most proud of, like the writing, like for me, because we write, and that's the side of it I sort of find the most proud of, is the writing side of stuff, and it's the performance obviously. Well, we find it terrifying, but the fact that you can write it's quite rare in to do it all, isn't it? I feel like
it is rare. It is rare, because actually some of my favorite singers don't actually write, and it is. I guess it's rare. I mean, I've always loved creating songs, love being in the studio. But because I grew up performing live, I grew up with it. It's in my blood. And the fact is that you can take a song and each time you can do something slightly different with it. And I think that's how I've managed to sort of keep it fresh over the years. Because when you're in the game for a few decades and people want to hear, obviously they want to hear the hits, they want to hear, I don't want to hear I Need to Be With You, The Way I Feel, and they want to hear Cuddly Toy. And, you know, at one point I thought, haven't I played that enough? But then you realise that not everyone has been to every show that you've done.
Yeah.
You say the same jokes. And, you know, and when it dawned on me, as I went to a Prince concert and he was doing I think it was the Batman album, something. He didn't do Purple Rain. And I was like, oh, yeah, I see what it's like now from the other side.
Yeah.
And so I put Cuddly Toy back into the set for that reason,
Yeah, I think there'd be a riot, wouldn't there?
Yeah. You know what's strange though? When I go off to Europe, and I play a lot in out of the UK, Cuddly Toy wasn't the biggest hit in, say, like Germany or...
Oh, really? What was bigger?
Well, I Need to Be With You and Lay Your Love on Me, songs from the third and second album. And so they don't know it. So it's kind of a weird... They've got completely different perspective of me. I think in England, a lot of people see me as a singles type guy, and you know, more of a pop star than in Germany, for example. They think I'm a serious album dude, which is good because it gives you that longevity anyway. And I am a songwriter, so it's not just about the one that was your biggest hit is all you do. And so it's interesting playing to different countries and getting completely different perspective.
Yeah. Do you want Cuddly Toy or not? Do you want it?
You say it really aggressively at the end. Do you want it or not? Got it in the holster.
It's always in the back pocket there, but
yeah. So how many gigs do you do a year? Are you gigging a lot?
Yeah, I'm gigging a lot. I haven't really counted how many. I guess
there's 22 on your poster you put on Twitter, by the way.
Yes, and then I'll do those, and then as soon as I've finished the last date of my tour, I go into rehearsals with Mike and the Mechanics. So I also sing for them, and we'll be touring until the first week in June.
Right,
God, she's shattered.
Yeah, it's going to be quite nuts, but I guess I'm used to it. But it is quite full on. By June, I'll probably need a bit of a break. Yeah. And then we'll go on to do some more dates later, late summer, maybe a couple of festivals. And so I spend a good part of the year, I'd say a portion of the year touring. And it definitely got more when it ended up being in two bands. And I've been with Mike and Mechanics now for like 12, 13 years. And they tour quite a lot. And so it's nuts. It is nuts.
And do you get time to go into the studio and do
you have to,
like play stuff?
Yeah, you sort of say, okay, get management to block off a certain amount of time and say, we'll have to say no to any gigs coming in at that point unless there's something really special, you know. But generally speaking, you just go, right, I'm not available and I'm going to get my writing cap on. And then you just block out a couple of months. And I tend to not think, well, I'm going to make an album. I just just write and see what happens. And
right, and you don't have anything sort of prepared. You just go, right, now I've got time. Are you like coming up with stuff as you go along, or just?
Yeah, exactly. Because I tried doing that sort of, right, the album's going to be like this, and I'm going to do it, and be really kind of contrived about it. And then you put too much pressure on yourself, and the flow doesn't happen. I like it when you're just writing and then a few months go by and you start realizing, wow, I'm actually making an album here. I've got enough material now for an album. And you don't even know how it happened, and they tend to be the best songs as well.
What do you write on keyboard or guitar or?
Mainly keyboards, but some songs I write on guitar.
Yeah.
Funny that Cuddly Toy, Fanny Man, they're big guitar anthems.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a frustrated guitarist. I can busk, I can play guitar, but I'm not like I can't play jazz and licks and stuff like that. I can play chords and strum, which is kind of what you need when you're doing what I do. But when I play keyboards, I think like a guitarist because I was trained on the keyboards, but my head, I love Jimi Hendrix, for example, and I love a lot I love a lot of like guitarists of blues and stuff like that. So I'm a bit of a weirdo because most people assume that my stuff's written on guitar, but it's not. It's written mostly on keyboards.
Well, when you wrote Cuddly, I know, are you all right talking about Cuddly Toy?
I hope so.
For instance, when you're writing that, how are you writing it? Are you playing the chords and then just singing gobbledygook and then writing the lyrics, or is that how it works, getting the melody right and then?
Yeah, it tends to be the melody and the sounds of the words, you know.
Yeah.
You know, something.
Yeah.
But that one, the words came.
Andrew, hang on a minute. Joe's eyes just went.
All right, I have been thinking, I wonder if he's going to sing. Then you did it, and I was hoping to internalise that, and it came out.
Maybe not as internal as you would like, but you know. And then, but with that song, the words came quite quickly because I had a strong theme, and the story is so odd that I don't even tell it too much because people kind of go, that makes no sense. But then some things in life don't make sense. And my manager at the time also had a stake in the Garfield the Cat merchandise. And he'd given us this massive cuddly toy and we plonked it on the stage because he told us to. And I think he was just trying to advertise his stuff. And but then after every gig, girls would try and steal it. And my keyboard player was, quite a ladies' man, clocked that he's like, oh, women like stuffed animals for some reason, and got himself one and was walking around. I know it sounds nuts, but he walked, and because he was quite good looking, I think that was more what it seemed to always work. He sort of always ended up with the girl. And so I thought, that's the worst chat-up line on the planet. Like, trying to go for the sympathy angle and, it's like having a little dog or something. And so the whole song was kind of a tongue-in-cheek.
Right.
Of him,
Yeah.
So I kind of had this whole thing in my mind. So the song happened very quickly and it was going to be an in-joke with the band, never to be released. But then it turned out that it was that good.
Is that why it works? Because you took all the pressure off yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, well, it's just a silly thing to play at the end and then...
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think then you you engage more of an artistic, honest flow because you got no preconceptions of how you want it to be perceived. You just go, this is fun. There's nothing to lose. And that fearlessness can create some really great things.
What I want to know is, what is it like to be at the front of the stage with a mic, feeling sexy as fuck, singing songs that people just because I want that life.
You should say David's a frustrated lead singer. I think.
It's not.
Is it good fun?
It's not so much fun for my girlfriend, but
Must be fantastic.
I think I guess so. It's kind of weird because my career's gone in these weird phases. Like, there's been this sort of knicker throwing phase.
Is there really?
Yeah,
knicker throwing.
Like you get. When my first tour I did, I went out opening for Terence Trent D'Arby, who was like,
no way.
And it was mostly young girls in the audience. We're going back a long time, and it was just female. And because they're young, they completely lose it, And a lot of them would do stuff like faint, and they're fainting to try and get...
Well, Joe, to be fair, Joe did
that. To be fair, it can happen to anyone.
I don't even know, his pants hit the Zoom. And...
Oddly enough, when Cuddly Toy came out, my audience for a while got really blokey, and I'd walk on stage, and they would be like, Andy, that kind of... It was almost like a mob chant type crowd.
Right.
And then by the time I got to sort of the third, I noticed that it was females again. And it was a bit more grown up. So it wasn't just sort of teenies, but it was like grown women, which is quite nice. I think they pick up on something in the music and then they drag in their boyfriends to the show. So, I think, it was great. It's a good vibe.
Not all of us have to be dragged. Some of us do the dragging.
Cool, I'm sorry.
Well, in your case, it's the other way around. But,
100%.
I'd love to know what it's like in that moment. I really would. Jeepers creepers.
I saw a documentary of it's like a young guy, and he had like his bar, and the curtain dropped for him to appear.
Yeah.
And they had the camera behind him, and everyone's sort of milling about, and just like 2,000 people just went bananas in that moment. And I thought, how are you not going to get carried away and go?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when you're young, I think there's a period of, because everyone's telling you how great you are, that when you're young, it's hard not to get. Most people do get a bit carried away, and then as you get older, you sort of find yourself again, and then realize, you're just someone singing. It's not really that big a deal. But there's a time when you're younger that it's hard to. I mean, I was lucky because I had a band, guys around me that always took the mic, and so I was quite grounded because I was just Andrew to them, and it didn't really. So that my immediate sort of surroundings was really like I wouldn't even know. It's just you get out, and then it's a whole different thing.
Do you still play with the same people? Have you managed to?
The band's changed over the years. The original band that did Cuddly Toy and I toured with for quite a long time. The drummer decided he lives in Brighton actually, that he'd kind of had enough drumming. He just wanted to do other things and have a family, and everyone kind of wanted to do their separate things. I think they'd had enough of me as well. But no, actually, we're still, like, me and Derek, the bass player, are still good mates. But, I think as well, I wanted to see other people, so to speak, because it was like being married. I had other musicians that were knocking on the door that wanted to work with me, and I was like, I only work with these guys, and I was being and it was very sort of like that. But then when I split up with the main guys, I realized as well, there's a lot of different type of people out there that it's great to sort of try and work with, and brings out a different part in what you do.
Yeah.
And so it's cool.
What happened to Terence Trent D'Arby? He did a couple of albums. He changed his name. I know. I saw recently he's still performing, but
I still talk to him every now and again.
Because he was huge, wasn't he? And he sort of disappeared.
He wasn't going to do stuff with INXS for a while and stuff like that.
No, he did do stuff. He sang with them.
Yeah.
He must be their lead singer after Mick Hutchins died, but he didn't. I don't know. They've done a few gigs, and I don't think it quite worked. And he got to that point where I think, again, you talk about getting carried away. He got taken over by the whole rock and roll thing, and he was aware that he was kind of losing it, and decided before it became something tragic, he would sort of pull out away from it. So he actually left that. He left that, and he went to live in Italy. And I remember him saying to me, and this is a lot of years ago, he says, I'm never coming back to the UK, because his last gig he did in the UK, it didn't go well, and the record company was slagging it off and whatever. And he said, I'm never coming back here. And I went, everyone says that, but this is the UK, London. He never came back. He went to Italy, and he changed his name. Yeah. And he said, Terence Trent D'Arby's dead. And he basically got a family. He was still gigging around. He still gigs around, but he gigs, he literally just drives around, plays with his band and whatever he wants to do. He doesn't need to
sounds
do
quite
shows.
Nice, doesn't it?
He's still, he's got a good life and speaks Italian. I think Italian probably his first language now.
He was a stunning bugger, wasn't he?
He was a stunning bugger.
Yeah, I'm doing shows before.
He's another one I've done a pencil drawing of. I've done a few pencil drawings of you and him.
The pencil drawings.
I did.
Wow. Well, maybe you should send one as a thank you.
Stop talking, Joe.
I don't know why I'm asking this question, but do you know, or have you ever played with Lewis Taylor? Do you know Lewis Taylor?
Yeah, we did one gig together.
Oh, did you? He disappeared as well. Yeah,
he opened for me in one gig.
Oh, wow.
And I thought he was amazing artist, amazing singer, like a Marvin Gaye-esque type, but really intense. And he is quite intense as a person. And I think that kind of slightly worked against him as well. I mean, he was incredibly serious backstage. I remember that. I thought, wow, lovely guy, but he was really serious. And I was like, you rocked, he rocked the crowd. And I was like, I went up to him and I was just raving. And he was like, I want to go home and be with my cat. And I thought, Yeah, it was a bit like that. So yeah, I think, and the thing is when you're an artist of his ilk, of his caliber, sensitivity comes with it, and the industry can be quite harsh, and you have to learn how to deal with your sensitivities and the harshness of the music industry, the fact that it's it's a business, and not everyone can deal with that.
So the harshness of the industry, what's a typical example of what you've had to deal with and sort of roll with?
Again, I was lucky because I had my band around me, and like you guys, after music, humor was the next big thing, and I think humor saved us because we just thought everything was hilarious, which it kind of is. There was something like, one of the jokes we had was, and it was true actually, like you knew how well you were doing at the record label if the head of the label got in the lift when you were in the lift and he said hello, then you knew you were doing really well. But if he got in the lift and completely ignored you, it wasn't looking good, and it would change because that's the thickness.
Jesus, what?
It could change from month to month. And
right, why would it change? What had they seen in an artist that? What is that? Is it an album's not selling, or?
Yeah, it could be that. It could be chart position wasn't as high as they wanted it to be that week, and or it's done really well, better than they thought, and so you're the golden boy.
It's brutal, isn't it? Like, because
it is brutal.
Yeah. Because I always think with music, which I find quite upsetting, is this like everyone. It has to start young. You know what I mean? Like to kind of. And it feels like, I remember seeing, do you know Little Mix? I saw them in BBC the day after they won X Factor. Yeah. And they were surrounded by paparazzi and everything. Yeah. And they were like toddlers, you know what I mean? They were like 16. And I just went, that looks horrendous. It looks bad. Like it should be like, you can't start this madness until you're 26 or something, because we're all developing as kids, and then they're going, all right, yeah, you're shit now, or whatever, and you're like, hold on, you can't say that to a 18-year-old. That affects them.
Do you feel that pressure when you were in your 20s, getting older, and did you feel like?
The difference I think is that obviously because Cuddly Toy as a song did so well, there was a time when it was everywhere and it never came off the radio. Yeah, umpteen Top of the Pops from one song.
Oh, God, talk about that for me.
Yeah, so I became a pop star, but in my mind I was always a working musician, and that was something that was like a byproduct of what I do. So I wasn't drawn into the whole sort of that's how you value yourself as a pop star and how well your fame is. I was always working on getting better as a musician, as a songwriter, and that was where my focus was. And the other part of it was part of my job, if you know what I mean. I think a lot of people get drawn into the whole thing about being a pop star as defining them, and the danger is that it can go. It goes when you're in the game long enough, you're going to not be as famous as you were at one point, more fame, and if you get caught up in that sort of that wave, you can get into some serious trouble.
Do you think because you could write as well, you always had that to sort of fall back on?
Exactly.
You go, right, I can produce. And because we always feel like that, don't we, David? We go, well, whatever's happening, we can just sit down and write something.
Yeah, the idea of just acting and waiting for an acting job, I just wouldn't want that. I just feel like you'd always want to be creating. And
just making something, even if it's not going anywhere, you work in your brain is sort of getting better at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's good enough for that week. If you've just written and hasn't gone anywhere, it don't matter. It's not wasted.
And I haven't stopped really since back then. I haven't really taken sort of any long breaks. I've just been going and going. And sometimes what you do gets you on the TV, and sometimes it doesn't. So for the public, if they don't see you on the TV, then they think, oh, he's obviously stopped. But I've been working like crazy, like since day dot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's mad.
Have you ever written a song where you've thought, this is the dog's bollocks, and you've taken it into your band and they go, nah? And you've gone, no, it is.
Because David has.
Because I've written hundreds. But I still believe in them.
They haven't said nah to my face.
Right. Okay.
I think I was also lucky that the guys in my band were fans in a way of my writing and my musical approach. I think they just were really, we had a lot of respect and high regard for each other. I'm more of a critic to myself in the way that I've written songs, and I thought, I've done that many times, and I just went, and I think often I've been right, sometimes I've been wrong, where I thought something was really okay, and those are the songs often that do better than you'd expect, and I can't always get into other people's perspective of songs. I just know my perspective. But there have been songs where I've thought, wow, I'm really proud of that. And they're normally the ones that have happened really quickly. And I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah. But how is it for you presenting a new song to people? Are you nervous? Are you still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very sort of cautious and protective over it.
Yeah.
Do you have stages? Do you have someone you always play it to first, or is it like your missus?
Well, yes. Yeah, it would have been my brother for most of my career. Sadly, a couple of years ago he passed, but
sorry.
He was always the guy, because he had a good gauge of somewhere between where I was and where, I guess, punter's ears, as for want of a better phrase. But
yeah.
And then a couple more friends, but I can be very guarded with new songs. I have to be 100% sure, because I know that they may pick them apart. But now I can't. Well, that's probably a good thing sometimes. That they might pick up on something that you didn't see in the lyric. It's normally a lyric thing that's not quite doing what it's supposed to do, and that's just a technical thing.
Yeah.
So by the time this is the thing, I don't know why I think this, but like by the time you're playing it live, you've played it to enough people where you're confident, but you can never know in front of hundreds of people if the
first time you play it to the public.
Yeah, to the public, like live or whatever. What?
Yeah.
Because we can.
That's scary.
Yeah.
But have you put it through? It's obviously gone through your brother at the time and now. But you still must be going. Oh God.
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, the last song we had was a couple of years ago, and funny enough, though, it got released just as the pandemic lockdown started. So I had a couple of, 18 months to worry about playing it in front of an audience, sitting there going, "Oh my God!" But when we finally did, that first time, you don't really know how it's going to resonate in the venue. And
can you feel it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can tell when it's really gone down well. You can definitely tell. Yeah. And if it hasn't, you can also tell, because you kind of feel it in yourself. Like you go, oh yeah, it's not working as well as I.
Do you try and fix it, or do you?
No, well, at that point, when you're playing it live, generally speaking, it's kind of already on the album.
Right.
Yeah.
But I've been lucky, because that very rarely has happened that they don't get it. And sometimes it's just the fact that the album production version works better than maybe the more stripped down live version, and vice versa. So still, I know that they'll enjoy it when they hear it recorded, because the production support is there that song needs, if you know what I mean.
How important is radio play with albums? I mean, and how do you get your stuff on the radio?
Good question.
Yeah,
really good question. I mean, I'd say still for an artist like me, very important, because when you've been in the game for a while, I'm old enough to know a world without the internet, and when it was just the radio and TV as a medium. And now a younger generation has come along where radio is not even as important, really, because they're accessing everything on their phones through social media. But my audience still listen to a lot of radio and play CDs, And so radio is that medium that I can reach out to people. And so when I get a song that's playlisted on radio, it means a big deal to me because I know that I can get to people's ears, you know.
And how do you get to be on the playlist?
Well, first of all, in my opinion, because everyone thinks that, well, if you're with a big label, they sort it out, but they can't polish a turd, so to speak. You have to write a song that has a certain resonance to it that you know it stands a good chance. The song has to work in a big way. First of all, you know, unless your name is, I don't know, Ed Sheeran could probably, even though I think he's amazing, but he can probably afford a couple of okay songs and it will still get, of course, on the radio because of the pull of his name. Yeah. But, you know, for me, I think the song has to be good. And then the label, you have a guy called a plugger who basically is the guy that walks in to the radio station with your song. And he has to also sell it on the fact, well, he's got an album coming out and they'll give the whole thing and he's touring to support it because the radio want to know, well, what's going to be happening with the next 12 months. And so it has to have you have to sell it on a plan. Yeah. But what I like about it though is that at the end of the day for radio, the song is what works. Everyone goes, well, you know, it's who you know, but it is about, if you've got a stonking song, you're kind of 90% there. And I say that, and they're not easy to write. They're not the kind of song you're going to write every day, but you know when you've got that song. Yeah.
I write the jingles for our podcast, and I think you would absolutely love them.
Okay.
I'm not sure you like the lyric, the vocals.
Sense a little duet coming as it goes.
If you duet with Mr. Roachford and I don't, I'm going to smash my computer up.
Oh dear.
I mean, you guys, it's a different medium that you work in, but in some ways, there's a lot of similarities, and you know, especially because you've got to. It's an artistic venture, and you got to keep honing your craft all the time. So you can't really rest on your laurels, you know. No. You got to keep doing it, man.
Yeah.
Like obviously, you had a lot of success in your 20s, but do you feel like you're a better artist now? Like obviously, because I feel like me and David have been doing what we do for years now, and I feel like hopefully we've got better. But do you feel like you're still getting better?
Well, I definitely, I feel like I'm loads better. I feel like sometimes when I listen to some of the earlier albums, I kind of go, oh my God, why did I do that? Why didn't I do that? You know, and I'm kind of going, why didn't I see that you could have done that and you could have written that lyric, you know? Right. But being in your 20s, I only knew what I knew at the time, and I was pulling from the life experience I had at the time. So I don't even completely agree with every single lyric that I wrote 30 years ago. Yeah, I've grown as we all do. I feel like I'm a much better singer because I know how to sing now. I was a self-taught singer, so I was only singing because, well, I wrote some lyrics that sing it. I wasn't classing myself as a singer. I just kind of got up and did it, and I didn't really know what I was doing. Whereas I feel like now I've got more into the art and the technique of singing, so I got much better at that.
Yeah, it must be weird hearing songs you've written years ago. You go, oh, there he is. There's that bloke. So it just feels, you know, everyone sort of changes in a way.
But it's there forever as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's there forever.
You're in time now. You're in history.
Sort of immortalised. Yeah.
Yeah, it is weird. I sometimes go, I'm in some ways I'm the same person, and in some ways I'm not. I'm like, who is that guy?
Yeah.
And in this, I think it's normal. I think anyone look back, whether they do music or not, but look back on their life and things that they said 30 years ago. You better hope there's going to be some kind of evolution or something.
I'm just glad nothing was recorded at me at like 21. Jesus, it's thick as pig shit.
You know, I honestly think you've got the natural. You've got a natural thing. I don't know what it is about acting and comedy that some people just have this thing about. They're well observed. They can pick up on things that the public we see, but we only see it in a subconscious way, whereas you guys consciously pick up on things and you can actually put it back out there in a way that we go, man, that's so funny. And I don't know how you do it. I really don't.
Right.
No, I can't do that.
Most days we don't either, to be honest.
Honestly, I suddenly had a thought, Joe, and I wrote a song called "Trouble with My Wi-Fi Baby Girl," and Joe sang it, and I would love to play it to you, but I don't know how to do it because of the technology.
Oh, I could probably do it on my laptop. Why am I suggesting? Right, okay. Can I play you my vocals, Mr. Roachford?
Yeah, I'm turning on the light now. As I'm.
I'm sorry. I've realised we've taken up loads of time.
Oh, now this is a wonderful ending. Can you find Trouble with My Wi-Fi Baby Girl?
Yeah, I'll go
Joe?
Eyes on Legs website.
Okay. Right, and you have to give it a genuine review, Andrew. Okay, you got
no pressure.
So if you think it's crap,
I've got to find it. Where is it?
Hang on, what's the title again?
I've got Trouble with My Wi-Fi Baby Girl.
Written by David. Oh God, what is this?
Listen, it's a jingle. Okay, don't judge me.
I feel genuinely sick. I'm hoping I can't find it. Right. Okay.
The thing about when you're doing a jingle, you don't have the same pressure, so you probably genius.
Yeah.
It feels quite pressured now, to be honest with you.
Right, are you gonna play? Have you got it there, Joe?
I'm trying. I'm like,
come
God.
on.
Right.
This is a big
No
build
rush.
now.
Yeah. Well, chat amongst yourselves. Oh my God. Sorry, I feel like I'm suddenly
how
really
painful
aware
this
that I'm really aware of myself and.
Here's one that you didn't make earlier.
Yeah. I tell you what, if you say you vaguely like it, it's going to make Joe's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh God! Right. Oh God! Oh,
Have you got it?
No, I'm scrolling down the most I've ever scrolled in my entire life. My hands are sweat.
While we're waiting for Joe, where's your next? Where's your next gig? Where are you travelling to next?
We're travelling. We're going up to Yorkshire.
Yeah.
A town called Holmthurf. I can't even pronounce it. Holmthurf. I've played there a couple of times.
Yeah.
With Mike's lot. And then we're staying around that area. I think it's Stockton. Don't quote me on it because it's like all around that area. Sunderland, Carlisle.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, we're kind of up north for a bit.
You're coming down my neck of the woods. You're in Plymouth.
Yes, we're doing
Plymouth Pavilions. Yeah.
Oh
Yes,
God,
yeah.
I found it.
He's found it. Right. He's found it.
Drum roll.
Sit back and enjoy it.
Right, Aaron.
But you don't even hear it. Didn't even come through.
Well, he's got headphones on. Right?
Here we go.
Can you hear it?
I had trouble with my Wi-Fi, baby girl. Chatting to we gon' chat.
Okay.
Just to help us out. I had trouble with my Wi-Fi, baby girl.
That was the most excruciating 26 minutes, 26 seconds of my life.
I'll tell you what, it's better when you're in the room.
When we go on tour, will you come?
Well, what does Prince used to say? Prince used to say, well, it doesn't suck.
Hey! We've done it.
It feels like Christmas morning.
I have to say, I love the programming sort of 80s electro sounds.
Yeah.
You did really well there.
Not talking a lot about the vocals, are we?
Swimming in effects and that, you know.
Yeah.
You watch your next album, it'll be, hang on a minute. I had trouble with my Wi-Fi, baby girl. All right.
Roachford's ripped us off.
You can. Oh my God! Right. I've got to say, I know it's coming in, but I've adored your music for so many years, and this has been.
Thank you, man.
I haven't calmed down in an hour. It's mad. I honestly, my heart's been racing the whole time, and this. Thank you, David, for sorting this out. But thank you, Mr. Roachford, for.
Well, this is Petra, because I think we tweeted you, Roachford, and obviously you didn't get back, and I was like, oh no, I hope you don't think we're just a couple of dickheads, but Petra went to your, so we went down the right route. Yeah.
It's just been incredible.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's
like,
cool, man.
blown my mind.
It's cool. I mean,
I don't know what to do now. When
Well, he's not going. This is a 4-hour Zoom call.
Oh my Lord.
We're here to torture you now. But honestly, I can't get over it. Look, even my camera's gone blurred.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. And like Joe's spoken about you loads, so the listeners just are fully on board with what this means. And yeah.
Okay,
it's brilliant.
It's a pleasure, man. I mean, like I said, I'm a fan too, so it's likewise,
Oh, well,
it works both ways, definitely. And
well, that's the nicest thing I've ever heard.
Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to plug or anything at all?
Well, as you mentioned, obviously, I'm back on the road now.
Yeah.
So we'll be coming. You can check on the roachford.co.uk website, find out the dates. See where I am. I put stuff on Insta. See you guys out in the gigs, and they're very special because this tour is about in support of music venues, local independent music venues, and it's been great so far. Getting everyone in the room and just getting such an intimate vibe, and it's been great. I feel like there's a big shift in the audience since obviously lockdown.
Yeah,
really,
it's a different vibe pre and post, definitely. It's so cool.
Cool. As in people are up for it more.
They're up for it more, really up for it more, and it just seems to. I mean, I've always been blessed with a good audience, but my God, now the energy in the room, it shocks me. I'm like, I'll start a song and there's a bit where I might go, so you sing. And I normally have to sort of get people, do a few rounds, get people geared up, and then they'll start singing back. Now it's straight.
Yeah.
And, I've got my whole routine, but I have to sort of go, I don't even need to, I can let them get on with it, And I've noticed that since the pandemic post, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with the rest of the tour. I'm sure it'll be amazing.
Thanks very much. Thanks.
So thank you so much.
And is it okay if I bow as an end?
Good curtsy.
I'm going to curtsy. Genuinely would.
I a couple of years ago I was lucky enough to get an MBE at the Palace, and I was so scared, but mainly because I didn't know what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And only the last minute, someone came up to me and says, "Don't worry, as long as you say, what was it? I don't even know now. The first time you answer a question, you say, Your Majesty or something, but then whatever it was Princess Roy anyway. So, but I had to, and then after that, you could be more casual, but I didn't know. So I was completely my legs were shaking. I was like, what do I say?
Yeah.
Been there. Been there for the last hour. Well, look, thank you for your time. I want to stop guffing on.
Okay, well, I'll see you guys. I'm sure on a circuit somewhere.
I hope so.
Or something.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Good luck with everything.
Yeah. Amazing.
Okay. Cheers.
Likewise.
Bye.
Bye.
I had trouble with my Wi-Fi, baby girl, chatting to each other. We're called chatterbacks, just a couple of guys. I had trouble with my Wi-Fi, baby girl, chatting to each other. We're called chatterbacks, just a couple of guys.
Oh my word! Oh my God! I am literally emotionally drained. It's really weird. I didn't calm down for 1 minute.
No.
I cannot get over that.
Yeah.
Where the hell do we go from there? Just that Roachford on the.
Yeah.
I've got so many people I need to contact now.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna. It's funny, when I thought you were gonna cry, I was like, "Fucking hell!" If Robert Smith came on, I think I would. It brings up too many things for me.
Yeah. The joy.
And I don't want to give people that.
Yeah, I don't want to open up. But it's just the joy someone's brought you. I know. I've driven long journeys going, yeah.
Yeah. What a nice man.
What a lovely. I wanted to say that. I was like, it's so nice to meet someone you adore, and they're just fantastic, really nice person who you're just like lovely as well.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking? Do a London gig and just ask, and just pretty please ask him to come and sing with you on stage. Sing Cuddly Toy. It would be incredible.
Can't do the
Because
whole
I think you'd let go and you'd just be lost in the moment. And I'll be filming it.
Haven't handed the mic to him once.
Oh my God. Just when he started singing it, I was like, fuck, it sounds great.
Yeah.
And I was so desperate to ask, but I was like, I don't want to put any pressure on him.
I also was like, I was really appreciative of you like taking control, because I was just like, you were asking lots of nice questions and stuff. Because I was just like, my brain's not working. I can't.
Well, I remember what it was like with Lawrence Tolhurst. I felt the same thing. I needed you to carry it because I was just staring at him, wanting to kiss him.
Yeah. I was
on
like,
his forehead.
I was like, my eyes are still slightly watery.
Yeah.
After an hour.
Fuck.
Were
you just looking, going, I can't believe I'm sharing this Zoom call with him?
Well, no, it hasn't sunk in. I know it hasn't sunk in.
The next day I was going, I've spoken to a member of the Cure. I was just kept saying that to myself the next day.
I will, like, we played Cuddly Toy at my wedding twice.
Yeah.
God, that must have sounded fucking nuts.
No, I think he was like, that's lovely to hear, isn't it?
I feel like it's not, I know it sounds stupid, like this is almost like a near-death experience or something, where you sort of go, it doesn't matter now, just chill out, like, doesn't matter.
Well, the duet's the next thing.
I mustn't make them get carried away and start fucking messaging.
I'll tell you what it is. It's getting him to sing Had Trouble with Wi-Fi, Baby Girl.
Imagine how beautiful that would be. Like,
yeah, he'd sing it. Him and Daniel would take over, and it would actually annoy me. Oi, fellas.
They hit it off and stay in contact. He's part of like Mike and the Mechanics now.
Yeah.
And we're like, fucking hell.
Oh, fuck.
Well, thank you. Genuinely, like, and I'm going to go and, I don't know, I think I'm going to be weird around Petra now. Like,
yeah, kiss her, cuddle her.
I think I'm going to be like, thank you. She's like, who are you? Thank you. I think I've changed now. Genuinely.
It's religious.
I think it sort of is. I'm like
someone. Who are you now?
I don't know. I just think I can walk the earth.
What if you gave up comedy?
I think I
became a farmer?
I just feel like I should do good in the community now.
I have a feeling might go the other way, and you really do comedy.
Even bigger show. At the time I think it was around the time he did the podcast, and then he went bananas. Started wearing really tight clothes.
Is he the top person in the world to talk to for you?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Fuck.
Oh my God.
It's all downhill from here.
It is, isn't it? Mystery guest turn around. Oh, hello. You all right? Yeah, not Roachford, is it? Colin Farrell. Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Mad that he wrote that song when he was 21. I can't get my head around shit like that. I really can't.
No.
So bizarre.
Did you enjoy chatting to him? Like, I know you.
I loved it.
Because he sort
I
of.
loved it. Because I was like, here's a bloke that's lived the dream.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I just wanted to know. Just I
thought you did, because it's all the like the kind of stuff that you would have dreamt of doing, like when you were 17 playing.
Well, you're talking to someone who's super talented that you go, fuck, you've done it.
Yeah.
And you're also playing a song or two that still really resonate.
Yeah. You've written like a classic.
Exactly. So
how many people can say they've written a classic? Not many people.
Well, I guess me, him.
You, him, and the Beatles, I'd say. And I worry about some of the Beatles.
Well, there you go.
Mate,
my
amazing.
mic's buggered.
Oh, forgot to record it.
Oh, fucking hell, I have.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I haven't.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Get
Andrew,
back on.
would you come on, would you? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Right. Cheers, mate.
Right.
I've
Cheers.
just gone
Have a
out.
nice evening.
I've got to be in the house on my own.
Oh, how frustrating. Put the album on and go fucking nuts on the top.
I'm gonna. Yeah, out in the garden like that.
He knows me. He likes me. He knows me. I've met him and he likes me.
Jonathan.
Say your neighbour.
Yeah. Just then. I've just had. All right. Cheers, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Bins out Thursday. Bins go out Thursday.
Right.
Right. Cheers, mate.
Sleep well.
Yeah. Not gonna.
Bye.
Bye.